Good afternoon. My name is Trissa Pruitt, and I'm an editor for Chattanooga, Tennessee's local newsletter, Nooga Today. Nooga Today is part of 6 a.m. City, a hyper-local media company focused on activating communities through daily email newsletters. Last summer, I had the opportunity to join the Trustworthy Elections cohort through Trusting News. It was here that I identified some areas in which 6 a.m. could be more transparent. And more than just identifying these areas, I was also given space and time to act on them. Before we go over those areas, I would like to go over what 6 a.m. City newsletters cover and avoid. I like to think of us as the cheerleaders for our cities. So we cover relevant, hyper-local news, all of this fun stuff you see over here. We refrain from covering national news and events, political topics, and crime and punishment. We don't say if it bleeds, it leads. So if we don't cover national events, how do we cover elections? I'm so glad you asked. Since 6 a.m. City is a fairly new company, creating an election coverage plan in this capacity was a hurdle we had to cross. Because I was in the Trusting News cohort, I was able to come up with some good ideas for our coverage plan. And first and foremost, we needed to edit and polish our editorial ethics policy, stating our editorial ethics and how we do refrain from covering national news and events. We made the policy easy to find on our websites and in our newsletters because it was not originally public, and so now it is. And we crafted the election coverage plan that we use for the 2020 general election, and it works for local election coverage too. This is where you can find our editorial ethics policy in the newsletter. It is right above our signature at the bottom. And this is where you can find it on the website. There's a little menu right here. You click it, and here are the policies. Easy peasy. Whenever we are covering elections, we decided to cover our basics. How and where to vote, who's running, what these positions do once they're elected. And whenever we covered local candidates, we only covered what they would say in a Q&A with us or what came from their website. So we were never directly writing about these candidates from our own voice. That way, no bias could slip in, even if we were unaware of it. You won't find national coverage in our election plan, except for who is running and if a national candidate visits the city. So that would be a big event for our city. We would cover that and not pretend like it's not happening. You also won't see political advertisements, endorsements, or opinions and other bias. Once we had all of this ready to go, we all published a newsletter, all 7 cities, stating exactly how we plan to cover the 2020 election. We put it all on the table and let our readers know exactly where we stand. We had a lot of really great positive feedback. What I've included here is only from the Chattanooga market, and it wasn't even everything we received. It was just some of my favorites. And keep in mind, 6 other markets also received feedback on this newsletter. So we were pretty happy with what we put out, and we were feeling really good about how transparent we've been with our readers. And this is my favorite. It's like Janet knew I was about to give this presentation because she responded to this tweet from the Report for America, basically saying that journalists need to show up in their community more. They need to take ownership more over their content, over when they make a mistake, and be more transparent with their audience. And Janet says that Nooga Today is doing a great job. So thank you, Janet. This was an amazing thing that I got to include in my presentation. In conclusion, if your audience believes that you're being transparent and direct with them, they're going to be more willing to trust you. And they're going to be more willing to start a dialogue with you if they have questions and concerns. And they might even send you nice, appreciative emails, which is often a refreshing change of pace. I think we can all relate to that. The quote that has stuck with me since the Trusting News cohort is that according to Pew data, about 80% of Americans say they have never spoken with or been interviewed by a journalist. It is really hard to trust someone you've never spoken to. So in order for us to build that trust and credibility, we need to bring that percentage down a lot. Thank you so much. I hope you're inspired to go find ways to be transparent in your newsroom.